So Hannah,
Yes, Kevin.
this week we saw Novocaine and Mickey 17.
Indeed we did.
Let's talk about Novocaine first,
Okay.
because we saw a little early access screening, not to brag or anything.
Yeah. I mean, just like a special perk of your YouTube channel.
Yeah, we got invited out because the producers saw our show and they were like, wow, this is really great. So many people really like it.
Oh, wait, no, I think it was just on the AMC app. I think we just went. I think anyone could have gone.
Oh, shit, you're right.
Yeah.
So, Hannah, do you want to tell the people what Novocaine's all about?
Yes.
Okay.
Novocaine is a movie starring Jack Quaid, where he is a man with a condition where he can't feel pain. He has an ordinary job as a bank manager, but crime and chaos ensues, and he's just the man for the job.
I'm just a regular guy with a regular job, but I've got this condition where I don't feel pain.
Hey, there we go.
Oh my God, you're a superhero.
So what did you think of the movie?
I thought it was pretty fun. I thought some parts of it were quite funny. Jack Quaid really solidified himself as like a likable actor in this movie. I've always thought, what do people see in Jack Quaid? Because I watched The Boys and he just kind of plays like a little whiny dork in that show. And so, I don't know. But between Companion and now this, I get it. He like very perfectly captures the awkward everyman guy with like pitch perfect comedic timing. There's unfortunately all the good scenes are in the trailer for this movie. It's a gimmicky as hell premise, and it probably didn't need to be a feature film for the amount of gimmicks they get out of it. But yeah, there's one scene where he's getting tortured where his like, it's both the dialogue and his performance are just firing on all cylinders, and it was like perfect. And I was like, oh great, they did a great job.
It's funny that he had like, because I didn't watch The Boys, so I didn't know him. And it's funny that he had Companion and this in such close succession. And like, he didn't have the same exact character, but it was kind of the same idea, at least at parts of it, where he's just kind of like, just like a dude, just like a normal dude. And he plays like a normal dude really well.
Yeah, but he like, in Companion, he got those incel acting chops out, And in this one, he's being more of a regular. This was the most likable version of himself that he's played.
Cops are here early. We need a hostage.
Let's move!
Oh my God, what am I doing?
What did you think of the movie?
Me?
Yeah, what did you think of the movie?
I had no expectations going in. I feel like it's the kind of thing that I probably wouldn't have seen on my own. I think you had a little bit more interest than I did, and we were kind of like, why not? Let's go see it. But it was fun. I feel like it was like best case scenario. I felt like they put him in weird situations, but they made it feel natural. Like nothing felt like too far of a leap.
Yeah, I mean, they have the whole like Home Alone sequence going on, which was, I don't know what the logic was behind that, but sure, it made for like a fun, goofy little
it's
scene.
like a criminal being paranoid. And then they even referenced Home Alone. Yeah,
I mean, the movie could have used, for my personal taste, just a little bit more logic behind it. Like there are, without spoiling anything, there are scenes that feel like, or I would say the whole movie felt like a 20-year-old kid wrote this. Like a guy who has just enough practice screenwriting something that's like structured and he has a fun premise. But yeah, there's some moments that are really funny, and then there's some moments where he's like trying to be like dramatic or something, and I'm like, what was that all about?
Oh, that's funny.
Because
I thought it fell flat most at a couple times where they like tried to be funny and it wasn't funny. And like there's, movies do that. Like they'll have silly things that don't land for me, but there was like a couple silly lines that I was like, there's no way that anyone thought that was funny. But that's like a nitpick, because overall I did think it was funny. I did think most of the jokes landed.
Yeah, and let me explain my comment, because people are going to be like, what are you talking about? There's only one slightly dramatic moment that just felt out of place. It's when, it's not really a spoiler. It's the cop is talking to Jack Quaid on the phone, and then he's like, what would you do if someone you loved was kidnapped? You wouldn't go after them too? And then she's like, yeah, you're right. And she hangs up the phone, and it just lingers on her face for like a few seconds, and I'm like,
Well, and also like in that sequence when she was like I care about my daughter, and like it lingered on his face as if like he really felt it too, like as if he was really like.
Yeah, that felt like film school.
That did.
Level.
Like manufacturing care.
Yeah, it was really, really weird.
Yeah.
Obviously, such a small amount of the movie is that, so it's hard to really.
You know, and I do feel like there's a certain amount of silliness that you have to let go in this type of movie. I do feel like they made an excuse for why the cops sucked, because always in this type of movie, like the cops suck. Mm-hmm. But like it was taking place over Christmas. Which is funny that it's a Christmas movie, but they like brought it up a bunch of times to be like, there's not more police here because we're short for Christmas.
Yeah.
Which like, in a way, I felt like it tried hard to explain why there wasn't police there. Because it didn't really need to be a Christmas movie, but it was fine.
Well, you get the excuse of people robbing the bank in a Santa Claus outfit.
Oh, I guess so,
I feel
yeah.
like anytime you have people robbing a bank, you have to think about, like, what's the look gonna be?
Yeah.
So they went
and
with
that's
Santa
true. Like,
Claus.
that's a way to walk into the bank without immediately causing fear.
Yes. By the way, I'm usually anti-sticking to straight logic, because every movie has a choice to make. Mm-hmm. You can make things super logical, and it's probably gonna be boring. Or you go a little crazy, stretch reality a little bit, and you make it more fun. And you have to find that balancing act. Because if you do it one way or the other, it's going to screw up the movie. And for the most part, it did it really well. There was a plot twist in the middle that was so stupid and so unnecessary. And I was like, why did they do that? Again, that's why I felt like a 20-year-old writing it. He was just like, something crazy has to happen. Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking of like, people I went to school with. And you're like, it's so fucking stupid. It does nothing for the movie. It doesn't change anything. Name any movie right now, and I'll give you an example of how stupid this plot twist is. Just name a movie.
I don't understand what you're gonna do here.
Just, what's a movie that you like?
The Substance. No, don't say anything bad about The Substance. A movie that I like.
Let's do The Substance. Okay?
Oh no.
If halfway through The Substance, Demi Moore was like, by the way, what's the guy's name? Dennis Quaid?
Harvey.
By the way, Harvey, I work for ISIS. You'd be like, what? That's a crazy twist, but it makes no sense. You'd be like, why is that a thing in this movie? So that happened here. So there was some writing that was really stupid. But most of the jokes were funny, and the action, when you get to the gimmicky part, which is, the guy can't get hurt, puts his hand into oil, he gets stabbed a bunch of times. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like for me, it was an empty brain movie, and it was entertaining the whole way through. I feel like I don't have that many complaints about it, because like it fulfilled its job of being entertaining and making enough sense that like the logic carried,
Yeah, and I like his relationship with the lady. He's trying to seduce his employee.
Yeah, that's kind of like power imbalance, a little inappropriate.
That was a little inappropriate.
I hope he cleared that with HR.
But yeah, all the actors were good in. Well, no, not all of them. The villain was really bad. But
I don't think he was really bad. I think that was the character. It was like a one-dimensional character, like a one-dimensional. And you've said you like characters that are just like cackling because they're so evil. Like that was him.
No, I just felt like he wasn't acting well. It wasn't that he was one-dimensional. It was just not a good performance. But everyone else was good. The sidekick guy was good. The lady was good. Jack Quaid was very likable.
Isn't it funny that the sidekick guy is like typecast as like the guy on the phone guy?
Yeah, well,
It's just funny.
he has a look about him. I mean, is he going to be the love interest in the next movie?
He should be. Why not?
Sure.
What happened to your face?
You should see the other guy.
This is why I don't like giving ratings to movies. Like, I appreciate the people that do. I appreciate going on IMDb and like seeing the people that like summed up all their thoughts into a single number. Mm-hmm. But I had like the only expectation I needed this movie to meet was for it to be entertaining the whole way through, and it met that. So like, I feel like I have no complaints because I wasn't expecting it to blow my socks off. Mm-hmm. Knock my socks. Blow my socks out of the water. My socks stayed on.
Yeah, I think Yeah, it was fun, but I look at Companion, which is a similar kind of like one-time watch kind of movie, and I'm like, that was just like a tighter script. It was a bit more thoughtful, so I liked that movie more. But this was still a good enough time at the theater where I would recommend people could go and watch it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Oh, no, stop it. Wow, that hurt. That one hurt the most.
Okay, Hannah, so we also saw Mickey 17.
What was Mickey 17?
Mickey 17 is a movie about a guy named Mickey who gets killed a whole bunch of times and then cloned, and
Chaos ensues.
They made me work my ass off, giving me one shitty mission after another.
You're an expendable. You're here to be expended.
Every time I died, they just printed me out again. Everyone asks, what's it feel like to die?
Hannah, what'd you think of Mickey 17?
It hurts me to say, but I feel like it overpromised and underdelivered.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Ask me what I thought about it.
Kevin,
Yeah,
what did you think about it?
I didn't like Mickey 17.
At all?
I mean, I like certain parts of it, but I thought the movie was all over the place. I
Yeah.
thought it had 25 different storylines going on. I thought it was kind of a jumbled mess.
Yeah.
And also, I thought that expectations obviously play a huge role into this. I thought it was advertised very, very poorly, because I thought they advertised it like it was going to be a fun comedy movie. And I kind of felt like it was like, if anything, a borderline, like, semi-miserable movie. I mean, they're trying to make it darkly comedic, but it just came off as, like, unpleasant to watch for the most part.
I feel like I was sold for the first, I don't know time because I wasn't looking at a clock, but I was sold for the beginning of it. I liked the premise. I liked how they were explaining some things, but then just further on, it felt like they were adding too many elements for no reason. And so they have the like political figure character, which like I thought it was kind of like a fun addition because it was unnecessary. It's like, all right, so this guy needs to leave Earth and he's signing up for this unpleasant job that really is like morally questionable, and no one wants to do it. So I thought it was kind of fun that they were adding in an element of like most people joining him on this expedition are like these like freaks who love this like dictator character. I was down with that, but I felt like they showed too much of Mark Ruffalo's character and it like wasn't as funny.
Yeah, I liked him more in the beginning.
Yeah, I liked him in small doses, and then when we got more of him, it just like there wasn't enough character there to like be entertaining.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's most of the movie is just a little bit shallow. It's like trying to explore a million ideas. It's like, I'm going to be really annoying, but I'm going to compare this to maybe a few things. But I loved Parasite.
Yeah, me too.
Parasite was probably the only movie ever that I was actively rooting to win Best Picture at the Oscars. I was so happy when it won. And so I walked out of this movie, I was like, why was this not as good? Because Parasite is a movie that constantly changes.
Yeah.
And kind of, it keeps becoming new things and surprises you. And I'm like, well, that's kind of what this movie is, right? But Parasite had a consistent theme to it. Like, the through line of that movie was, it was always about, like, classism or, like, wealth inequality. That was the whole movie. This movie tried to tackle so many fucking themes.
Yeah, it teetered on themes.
It was like, it starts off, it's like, okay, we have cloning, we have human experimentation, we have colonialism, capitalism is bad. I don't know, it kept switching gears, and there was a point early on, you find out that they leave Mickey 17 for dead. His friend assumes he's going to be dead, and then they produce Mickey 18. So now he has a second clone. And that happened. I forgot that it happened in the trailer, and I perked up, and I went, ooh, this is exciting now. I wonder what's going to happen next. And then that gets resolved in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was such a weird thing.
They made it like such a big deal because in the movie's logic, those clones would have to be killed because you cannot have duplicates, right? So...
multiples.
Whatever. But then the plotline literally goes away. And then we go to this like comedic scene, and I guess the story always does move forward, kind of, but in ways
weakly.
In ways that doesn't feel satisfying. And I'm gonna be even more annoying.
Oh my God, is that possible?
Yes. In film school...
Oh no.
One of the first things they teach you in screenwriting class is that every scene has to lead into the next scene through like a consequence of itself. So like when you're writing a screenplay, it should be like a scene happens and then therefore the next scene happens. But this happens, therefore this happens. And this movie was just a bunch of this scene happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this. There's no consequence to each scene. It's just kind of like, it's always a new thing happening and nothing connects. It doesn't feel cohesive at all, you know?
Are you done with your monologue?
Yeah, I guess so.
In the case of multiples, we exterminate every individual.
Which body goes first? One at a time is twice the fun.
I'm not a director. I didn't even go to film school. I know. I have a huge leg down in this conversation.
You were viewing movies?
here.
You didn't even go to film school?
I know. I'm viewing them like a pedestrian.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right. What's your stupid take?
I could imagine being a director. Movies are heavily scrutinized and like blah, blah, blah. You kind of have a choice to make of like doing what works or trying to pave a new path. I think of like the Game of Thrones people that like apparently were reading what people were predicting about Game of Thrones and then deciding to not do that just to subvert expectations, and it made the ending of Game of Thrones so bad. So this felt like he was trying to make odd choices for the sake of not being predictable or for the sake of like staying ahead of you. And I could see like on paper that working, and I think sometimes it worked because they had a lot of like a situation happens and now they're going to tell you the backstory of that situation or why that situation has importance. And I felt like, especially in the beginning, like it worked. Like they started with him already in this planet, in this situation, and then they were like, oh, but here's the backstory of how he got to that planet. And they did that a bunch of times, but there was a couple times where it was like, it would have been more satisfying if it was put into the movie.
Oh, wow. Did you see that?
So Hannah, what are your final thoughts on Mickey 17? Would you recommend this to people?
No.
You wouldn't recommend it to Bong Joon-ho fans?
You know, it hurts because I didn't see a trailer. I didn't know a lot about it. All I knew was that I like Parasite a lot, and I like Robert Pattinson, and I like the roles he chooses. And I was very excited in the beginning of the movie, and then it just felt like, yeah, a messy mess.
Do me.
Right here. Kevin, what are your final thoughts?
I unfortunately didn't like Mickey 17 very much.
Oh.
But I wouldn't go as far as to say I hated it or whatever. It was honestly, it was just kind of like, it was like okay for most of it. There's a bunch of like okay scenes strung together. And, you know, after 2.5 hours of okay scenes, I'm just kind of like, I've had enough. And I was, by the last act, I was kind of waiting for it to end, unfortunately.
This time I wasn't scared.
All right, goodbye, everybody. I'm out of here.
All right, come out. That guy is so annoying. Yeah, but at least he works for ISIS.